right, in this interview, we spoke to Nate. He went from living in a small town in South Dakota to eventually building a multi-million dollar company. You're going to learn exactly how he did this, what he did, so stay tuned. All right, so we have Nate the Great, runs a seven-figure agency in the dealership space. And Nate, I'll let you maybe do an introduction for yourself, and maybe you can share with people just a 30-foot overview of your background.
Yeah, guys. So I got started actually knowing nothing about online advertising, social media marketing, digital ads, nothing of the sorts. And I was actually working as a car detailer. I was cleaning cars, and I came across a couple ads, and I met some great people that led me to social media marketing. And I actually tried it out for the business that I worked for, the dealership, and they were actually able to sell some cars. Well, then I took that same formula and I applied it to the martial arts gym I was training at, and they started signing up new members. So I knew I was onto something there, and I started to work with Agency Box and their team, and I was getting clients, and I was fulfilling it and had all the support. And in my first 6 months, I'd already raked in over $100,000. Fast forward 3.5 years later now, and I've crossed a seven-figure run rate in my agency, and we're doing between $70,000 to $85,000 a month right now, consistently, and that's with one service in one niche with one offer. So that's the agency model I'm running right now. Keep a lean team of about 5-6 people, but I wouldn't have made it here if it wasn't for the help of all the mentors and the different programs and things that I went through, and especially Agency Box and Dylan and you guys helping me out too.
Awesome. And with that being said, you said your first 6 months you made $100,000. What did life look like before that? Like, what was the most you ever made in a year, and before you actually got into this business model?
Yeah, I still remember when I got my first check. That was $3,400, and it was the biggest check that I ever got to date. And I remember getting that check, and that was right after I ran the ads for the car dealer. He sold 3 extra cars, and he said, "Hey, you're not just making detailer money. I'm going to pay you a commission on those sales," right? I was just doing it to try it out. And I got that check, and I remember being like, "Dude, this internet money, this is the real deal." And so before that, I wasn't able to travel. I'm an avid jiu-jitsu competitor, and it looked like in a year I could do 1 or 2 competitions. I couldn't travel. I couldn't afford to go out and eat. I love to get appetizers and desserts. We were skipping those. We were checking the price before we decided how good it looked, right? And with the agency, once things took off, none of that stuff mattered, because I knew that, we were making new money in so fast, new clients, new opportunities. Literally having to turn people down. So before it, man, life was paycheck to paycheck. And since then, I'm able to travel, good bit of time freedom. You get in what you put out. I prefer to put in a lot of time, but if I wanted to, I could take a week, 2 weeks off, go travel, come back, and I'm still going to have the same business that I left with. So it's a big gain.
So before that point, you were on a budget. You weren't able to travel. You didn't have the freedom, right? So in your best year, did you hit 6 figures before that?
No, I'd never hit 6 figures before. I think in the whole year I was making like $30K a year, working a 9 to 5, working in a kitchen and working as a detailer. And it just wasn't enough. It was like, you have rent covered, and you can't buy anything else really. And I didn't want to live that way anymore,
Yeah. And then for you jumping into, running an agency, and now you're obviously, working with, different, dealerships and other businesses that do millions of dollars, right? What did that process look like for you? And obviously it sounds like you ramped up pretty fast, but what did that process look like for you? Skill sets that you had to learn, like who did you have to become to actually, be in the position where you actually are running a 7-figure business now?
I love that, Nick, because what I've heard is like, set a goal so big that you have to become the type of person that will achieve that, and so my goal was to build $1 million business. I didn't realize that when I set the goal that's not a very hard thing to do once you're really rolling. But at the time, I was thinking 10 grand a month. that sounds crazy, you know? So I set these high goals for myself, and I have some other personal goals too that kind of led me to, let me just build the best business I can build. And I wanted to lead with value. I wanted to create impact. And so most gurus online will tell you, don't worry about fulfillment or how you're going to take care of your clients. Just go out and sell, sell, sell. Cash producing activities only. And I think that's great advice for the person that's got their fulfillment dialed in. But I was the opposite. I was results, results, results. How can I squeeze more dollars out of Mark Zuckerberg off Facebook and Instagram? How can I get better results for my clients with new innovative strategies? How can I save them time and stress? What can I take off their plate? And when I focus my time and attention there in a service mindset, and I'm going to be the guy that solves their problems, you know, our guarantee is 2x your ROI within 30 days, or we work for free, even if that means I got to fly out there and help sell the cars myself. Like, once we took that mindset, you know, we started to really take off, because people are like, man, I need these services. Somebody's got to do this, but they got to do it right. So the main skills in the beginning was learning how to run paid ads, was learning how to set up automations and go high level, Zapier, was learning how to onboard clients, dialing a phone, learning how to video edit. Honestly, being a jack of all trades when it comes to slapping together an ad campaign and getting the results myself before I brought the team in. And then the skill sets change, you know. Once you get above 30K a month, it becomes team management, sales operations, you know. And then now at the point I'm at, it's really about leaning into the team and the systems and then being the CEO. So reading a higher level. But I'd say the biggest thing that I had to build within myself was confidence in the system. And that came through testing it a lot. And then really just being able to have that grit and that I'm going to figure it out no matter what it takes. And there's always a way. If you stop believing in this stuff, I mean, you're dead in the water. You got to know that what you're providing is life changing. You know, these business owners, they don't have these things. So that's kind of the stuff that drove me. And along the way, you know, that's what really helped keep me going to the point that I'm at today.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think as you were saying that, you know, what I took away from that is you ultimately had to learn how to run paid ads, how to convert, you know, attention into income. And you got so good at it that you could even put a guarantee on your service where you're going to be able to 2x a company's revenue when they worked with you, which from what it sounds like to me, dude, that gives you an immense amount of value. And it's something where from this day forward now, you can jump into any industry, any space you want. And if you have those core principles that you had to learn to deliver for your clients, you do become somewhat indestructible, or there's always going to be a demand for a person like you where you can show up to a business and say, hey, I can bring in more revenue, you know, in the doors, right? Hey, Nate, I want to time out here real quick. If you could just move your camera down like 2 or 3 inches. Yep, just so we can get there. Perfect. Boom. All right. So you learned the skill sets, you know, you got really into, you know, marketing and lead conversion and basically performance-based marketing, right? So from that point where let's just talk about, you know, getting your first client and you know, how that went down and what that experience was like for you. Did it happen by accident? Did you know you were going to get them? Did you stumble across them? How'd that happen?
Yeah, so what I tell everybody that's getting started in this, I believe your first client's going to come from somebody you know, and that's how all my first clients came. But those were more or less case studies. And so my first official client, a stranger that I met that started to pay me money from some wizardry I did on the internet, was actually a guy by the name of Miguel. And somebody that I knew saw Miguel's post on Facebook that said, do you know anyone that's good at Facebook or Instagram social media marketing? Could be a great opportunity for the right person. My friend screenshotted it. He sent it to me. He said, bro, I saw you've been getting into this. Hit this guy up. Could be a great opportunity. Turns out it was a great opportunity. I jump on with this guy on a call. We make the connection, and really I just hit him up like, hey, Calvin told me you're looking for somebody that's good at Facebook and Instagram. And he said, awesome, let's jump on a call. And we jumped on a call. And I ran through a discovery call framework that, you know, that you guys talk a lot about and everything like that, where we're investigating, we're finding out what kind of problems they have, and we're coming up with potential solutions. And basically, long story short, man, I started to like undersell myself out of the position. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm right for this. He wanted me to do ads for TV service, internet, Wi-Fi, and like phones. And I was like, man, we're competing with AT&T. I don't know about all this fiber internet stuff. But he's like, and he told me one day, he's like, bro, we're on the phone. He's like, bro, I want you to do this. You're the right kid for this. I see where you're at. And the money that you think that you're going to be charging me is like, you're going to make a lot more than this. And he's like, what do you want me to pay you a month for you to run these ads and do your best? And I was like, $1,300 a month, some random like small amount. And he's like, all right, done, start me out. And he leaves a Google review for my business I just started within a week, because I'm getting him $2 leads, people that want to switch their phone service over, get new internet. And he's stoked. So then he introduces me to the bigger company that he works for, and they're just getting into solar. And they tell me, hey, what's it going to look like to do it for the whole company, solar leads? And I said, hey, $3,000 a month. They said, done, with a $2,000 setup. So $5,000 first, done. They were totally cool with it. And this ended up being my first $3,000 a month client for the next, I worked with them about 8 months. And then they took it in-house and actually paid me a consultation fee to teach them how to run it in-house. And I still work with them today.
So that one deal was, worth more than what, 50 grand?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, 8 months, 3,000 a month, and then it was about a 35 to 50K deal all in from a Facebook post that somebody sent me. And I mean, I ran 5 different niches with the one client: Wi-Fi, internet, home security, and then solar. And solar was the most profitable, so we dived into there. And I think that's a lesson to everybody, that if you just decide to learn the skill set and say, I'm going to be somebody's guy. Everybody needs a guy for, if you need your haircut, you have a guy for that. If your toilet breaks, you have a guy for that, hopefully. And he needed a guy for advertising. Businesses need a guy for advertising. So yeah, man,
absolutely.
It worked out real well.
That is true. Businesses need someone to do marketing and advertise the business, right? So, and most founders actually do not have a background in this, and that's why 90% of businesses fail in the first 2 years, right? So with that being said, when you were working with this client, was this person local, like they were in your town, or were they somewhere else?
Totally remote. I was breaking into the Oregon, Washington markets, which I knew nothing about, and I was sitting in the middle of South Dakota, and running ads for them.
So you were in the middle of South Dakota. So let's talk about that. So when is that where you grew up? You grew up in South Dakota? Yeah. So when you were growing up, right, we got young Nate. He wasn't Nate the Great yet, right? Just young Nate, right? And he was in South Dakota. Where did you kind of think you would end up? Or did you think you would ever run a 7-figure business? Or, if you can kind of, remember those days, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I always knew. It was like 11 years old when I first was like, Mom, I want to have my own business. Like, I'll own a gas station someday, and then I'll own the bank. I just wanted to own something, and it kind of set in the back of my mind. And then I got in a lot of trouble growing up. I took a lot of wrong turns, a lot of influence that led me in a different direction. So I was partying and doing all this, and I came away from all that. I hit a hard stop. Said no to everything, moved away. And that's when I started looking into ways like, how can I, start a business online? And I tried a lot of different things, drop shipping, e-commerce, different things I was testing, even trying to get my real estate license, sell life insurance, and start like a brick and mortar SIE company. So I was like really hungry and determined to start a business. And I knew that I would do that, but I never knew that it would go this smooth. I never knew that if I just kept my head down for 5 years, that, I'd be at the point where I'm at today, where, I have new people I just meet over a Zoom call, and then they're sending me $3,000 a month, and, I've talked to them only 45 minutes. I mean, it's insane to be at this point. I always, when I was a kid, I always knew that I had to find that financial freedom somehow. And I knew that I'd figure out a way, but I didn't expect it to be, this path of success where if you literally just keep showing up, things get better. So yeah, man, I mean,
So,
was crazy.
and I think that's a good, I think that's my takeaway from that is this. When I was growing up, I would definitely say I wanted to own a business as well, but I stumbled across running a marketing agency because I thought I was a D1 athlete. I thought, hey, it would be cool to own a gym one day. And I didn't necessarily have, 50 or 100 grand sitting around to open up a gym. But I realized if I could learn marketing, I can work with gyms and I could also, help them grow their business. And in the process, it'd be kind of cool if I had a Rolodex of, 7-figure, 8-figure gym owners in my back pocket and also get to learn about, the other aspects of the business while I'm helping them. And it's a win-win. And eventually I realized like, dude, I can actually have the benefit of going to gyms. Like I work with gyms and also make, a couple grand a month. And once you get really good, you could even tackle in profit share agreements where I almost had the benefits of owning a gym without any of the liabilities or overhead. So, with you, with where you're at right now, what do you think is, I guess the next step or, the next phase, for yourself, with the skill sets you've acquired and, now, really, where you're at with your marketing agency right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, and that's great stuff. Like you see, like if you can just come in and bring value to people and open up a space for them to come and have their needs met. I mean, it leads to so many opportunities. Like it's hard not to win when you just show up and you're that guy. Hey, I know how to do a little thing. It doesn't matter what your skill set is. Like it's going to be valuable to the marketplace as long as it's been proven out, tested, and you've really put the work in. That's what I love about. I do jiu-jitsu. I know you're in the gym space as well. And in jiu-jitsu, like you can't lie about the work you didn't do. You're going to get out there with another guy. He's going to be trying to strangle you. And if you haven't really put that time and work into maybe a single position you're working from, or maybe into, the entirety of being on the mats, you're going to get crushed. And no amount of Instagram flexing, no amount of watching YouTube videos to try to say you're an entrepreneur or an athlete is going to save you in that moment. And I think business is the same way. And so like developing that skill set and then being really good with people, knowing how to have a conversation with people. I mean, if you just know how to talk to people in these days, you're going to beat like 90% of everybody else because people are so scared and shy. Like if you can go up, you're at the gym, like you're saying, and you see a guy and you're like, hey man, that's a great t-shirt. Where do you get that, man? And then, I mean, that's how guys make friends, right? And then now it's like one day it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Oh man, we're looking for a marketing guy. My last guy didn't work out or whatever. And then bada bing, bada boom, you're in an opportunity. And so, those conversations is like where the majority of my referral clients come from. The ones that I don't get through ads, it's just through having a conversation, and it can happen anywhere. So yeah, man, but to answer your question, what's next for us is just more, man, more impact, more volume, and more quality. What I want to do is I want to create impact on the world with what I've figured out. And I know that if people can benefit from the system that I've learned and they can use it to grow their business or to save themselves some time or to hire that extra employee or open a new location, I'm having a pivotal impact in somebody's life, their legacy, and my employees too, man. I mean, I just had my COO. He's been with me for 2 years now. He's savage, really, really good guy, really smart young kid. He just put a down payment on for a plot of land in Pakistan where he lives, and I helped him to do that, and that's because he's been working with me for so long. And it's like that's legacy to his family. That's deeper than online money. That's a real asset that he's going to be able to enjoy. So creating impact on my clients, my students, my family, the people around me, I know will give me this positive compounding ROI where I don't have to directly invest my time in order to give that value. And that's where the online platforms are so pivotal, being able to share more with people, show them what we've done to get success. I mean, my YouTube channel is an open book. I literally have our exact SOPs, how we train, how we run ads, examples. And so people can get a lot of value from that. And that's my goal this year, is to put more out there to help people get value from it. And, and that's going to aid in and assist in what I'm trying to do in the bigger picture where I'm leading my life.
Awesome. And Nate, on that note, obviously you kind of had like a rapid growth and kind of stumbled across success relatively pretty quick. Did you study marketing in university or go to school for business and marketing?
No, I never went to school for business and marketing. I actually was a college dropout. I didn't know anything about marketing. I thought I invented lead generation when I first stumbled upon like Facebook's lead feature. Nobody in South Dakota was running that. And so like I'd never really seen many lead generation ads. And then one day I saw this guy, and he was standing in a Rapid City, South Dakota gym. This is a tiny town. And it's this guy with curly hair, a big mustache, and giant calves. And he's standing there in his tee, and he's having somebody film a video. And this was a local gym that I knew about. And it's this guy, and he's like, I'm doing this fitness challenge, boot camp. You're all invited in. And I didn't know at the time, but it was a early, young Alex Hermosi during gym launch days. He was at South Dakota at one of those gyms. And I looked at that ad for so long, and I didn't know anything about marketing, but I was like, something is happening here. This guy isn't from here. This is some kind of business play. And I went through his whole funnel. I signed up, and that day it clicked for me that there's no competition. Nobody's doing this out here. And if I could figure this out, I would be able to mop shop. And so I started to look at other markets like New York, Denver, and see that they're running a lot of lead generation. And so I tried it out for myself and started generating leads. And it was mostly just through trial and error. But I had been studying Billie Jean. I'd been studying Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, some of the OGs. And then, of course, I was connected with Dylan and Agency Box. And that was kind of the platform but I was learning from everybody, man. YouTube was my mother. Like every day, I was detailing cars 8 hours a day, just listening to what's a marketing funnel, how to make a landing page, and just soaking it up. So, yeah, man, it's
there
a balance.
we go.
It's a dance, it's a juggle, but if you just keep going, you'll be successful, I believe.
So with that, last question here. So with you're talking to, let's just say you're talking to young Nate or somebody that has an idea where they want to build a real business. They want to do something online, but they have a fear and uncertainty of if they can actually do it, because I think that's what holds a lot of people back. What would you tell them if they do have those, that dream, that desire to want to do that? What would you tell them?
You will be laying on your deathbed wishing you did and wondering what could have been if you don't go for it. You will see people less qualified, less intelligent, and probably in less shape to be in positions that you could have been in simply if you would have showed up to the places. Life gives you opportunities all around you at every single point in your life. There's 100 opportunities, and we put our heads in our phones and we miss 90% of them. But if you just open up, and it starts with your mindset, you gotta have hope, and I'm big in faith too. You gotta have faith. For me, I had a faith in God where I said, hey God, please leave me the connections, and I swear I'd see videos that I felt were so relevant to me. I would get connections that I didn't set up that were just so right, that clicked, that led me into opportunities where I could show up and I could actually do what I said I was willing to do, which is whatever it takes to get results. And so I'd say, if you're scared of what it takes to pick up the phone and call a contact, if you're scared of pitching someone, if you're scared of learning how to run Facebook ads, I'd be much more afraid of the alternative of working a job that I hate, living a life that I don't like, and trying to escape and numb myself from it at all times. And that doesn't mean when you have a business, you're going to be an enlightened being and you're not still going to have those issues. But at least when you have some money to breathe, you can assess where you really want to go. There's 1,000 different business models. There's hundreds of different positions that businesses need to fulfill, people need, and you have to go after every single one. Once you latch onto something that works for yourself, Just keep going with that thing and ignore every other thing until you hit $100,000, until you hit $1 million. And what gets you to 10,000 will get you to 100,000, and slightly different with what gets you to $1 million, but then you can assess from there. You know, so many people, they die by the sword because they're trying too many things at once, and they're failing because they're an AI agency, then they're a high ticket agency, then they're consulting, then they're software. You know, you have to learn how to be one thing and be that one thing really well. So yeah, I'd say go all in, because somebody's literally got to do it. Like, I talk to hundreds of business owners every single week, and they all want somebody qualified to do it. Maybe at a different price point than I want to charge, so that's better for somebody else. But I believe everybody can take advantage of that. So that's what I'd say.
I love that. And I definitely, that analogy that you gave about, you know, looking back at the end, all right, would you have more regret, you know, if you didn't go for it, or if you did go for it and you knew like, hey, I gave my all? That really hit home with me. With that, Nate, appreciate your time, man. We can wrap this up here, and we'll go ahead and you guys will put Nate's information in the description here, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
Yep. All right.